Welcome to the news at noon on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM Abuja. My name is Oikike Igado Kure. The headlines this hour. Absence of Minister stalls budget defense at the House of Representatives. Governors called for release of $1 billion from excess crude account to fight terrorism. And UN seeks $1.1 billion to curtail humanitarian challenges in Northeast in 2018. Settlement of people living with disabilities in Karamajiji FCT calls for help to alleviate their sufferings. Details in a moment. Please do stay with us. And now the news. The House of Representatives Committee on Commerce has said unless the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Okechukwu Enemlema, appears before it, the ministry's 2018 budget defense would not hold. The permanent secretary of the ministry, Edith Akpan, had announced his presence as the representative of the minister at the commencement of the budget defense for the ministry on Thursday. Chairman of the committee, Sylvester Ogbaga, said the minister was in the habit of not making himself available for any engagement with the lawmakers. He said the budget defense was a serious business which needed the presence of the minister. The National Economic Council, NEC, has asked the federal government to withdraw $1 billion from the excess crude account and use it to fight insurgency in the Northeast. The decision was taken at a meeting of the council presided over by Vice President Yemi Oshibaja at the presidential villa in Abuja. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki disclosed this to State House correspondents at the end of the NEC meeting on Thursday. Obaseki said council members expected that the money would be spent on the purchase of security equipment, procurement of intelligence and other logistics. The United Nations on Thursday said the situation of Nigeria's northeast remains very much fragile as any effort to stop the huge humanitarian efforts to the zone may reverse the whole area to the dark age. Speaking in Maiduguri, the UN humanitarian coordinator for Nigeria, Edward Kalon, said to address the numerous humanitarian challenges in the northeast, the organization needs $1.1 billion in 2018. He said an appeal of $1.1 billion is going to be made for 2018 to provide for the 6.1 million people in need of humanitarian assistance in the crisis within Northeast. Callan said the situation is still very fragile and if nothing is done, it can slip back, insisting that the cooperation and partnership of all stakeholders are still needed to pilot the ship. He, however, said the Northeast Nigeria appeal is the 5th most funded appeal in the world. FCT residents have been asked to stop the act of throwing filth from their vehicles to the roads to avoid the dangers associated with it. Those who spoke with their correspondents wondered why some motorists in Abuja could indulge in the act of littering the city with death instead of contributing to make it clean and healthy. They called for a conscious and deliberate effort to live a healthy lifestyle.
We have this issue called mobile littering, where people are in their vehicles and they throw refuse or dirt out of the moving vehicle. That is quite unbecoming of people that will want to be considered civilized. And a city whose founding fathers conceive it to be one of the world-class cities among other world-class cities in the world, I think we need to imbibe this habit of proper waste disposal. So I will call on such people that engage in that it is not proper, it is not good, and it does not portray us as decent or civilized people even before our visitors.
Now, I would like to call on we Nigerians to change our attitude towards the environment. You see, the entire problem we have in the country boils down to our attitude. We need an attitudinal change. For example, somebody will take a snack in his car. After drinking the water or eating the snack, instead of he or she to keep the container in his car or in her car until she gets to a destination where there is a litter bin, they just throw it through the window of the car, littering the environment. And for God's sake, the government of the day has been spending a lot of money to ensure that the city is clean. People are being paid to clean that environment, and you feel you can eat anything and throw on the road. I think we should change our attitude.
The issue of waste management is a very serious task, and it requires the support of everybody, because the government or APB alone cannot do it. Whatever sensitization we give out there, we need the participation of all and sundry.
The fundamental rights to good life of those living with disabilities in Nigeria have been questioned in a community in Karamajiji, a suburb of FCT, Abuja. Human Rights Radio visited the settlement in Karamajiji where most populace live with disabilities. The people said they have been completely neglected by government.
We have been here for more than almost 10 years now, and for the past 7 years we don't have light. The wires has been connected, but there is no transformer. We do have light before, but they disconnect the light. We are not owing them. We pay our light bill when it is due. If you look at the primary school we are having here now, it is all these NGOs that come and then contributed to build this school for us.
It's not a government school. They just build the school for the disabled children. There is no any other children outside, including them.
Because we are physically challenged, our heart is not challenged, our mind is not challenged. We fought street begging. We bring those people down the street begging. We bring them to teach them skill acquisition, and they have been living a happily life. We need government turn their attention to us. There is not any government source of water here. All the source of water you see here is either private or NGOs, and most of the NGOs, they are not working. They bring them in jerrycan and we buy for us to get water.
We live in huts. These huts, if you see, is all things are combined together with wood to manage our lives there, which if you see, you will pity the way we live. We need to get hospital here, even primary health care. We used to go outside where if you see a disabled woman that is under labor, we suffered a lot to take her to any other medical care. We want those concerned to look into our condition and to have mercy that this, our challenge, is not being made by us. It's something that God tested our faith, and it can do it to anybody at any time and at any moment.
Thirdly, we are fighting for the school because of our children. If we didn't go to school, at least our children should go to school. It should be a kind of proud for us that our children, they will be tomorrow to even take care of us, and they can be a blessing to this country. But the school, there is no teachers, and we are pleading with government. Please, they should turn their attention to us so that we will live a meaningful life.
Now only this water do we get. Now only 2 pumps a day. The problem for water is there for this town.
We don't want our children to be also physically challenged or disabled. Why? Because lack of education is a challenge in life. So we need our children to at least have education. Issue of water here is being gotten by the NGOs, and we buy from the other private people that construct their own borehole for market.
An Abuja-based disc jockey, Sunday Okoro, has expressed gratitude to the Brekete Family Radio Project for helping to save his life after months of struggles with a protracted injury sustained as a result of a knife attack.
Opposite my house, now where they attack me. So they stabbed me 3 times for tummy. They do me the first surgery. Third one, I the one where they come on my intestine outside. And my intestine there outside for 8 months. I manage them for that 8 months. Based on say, I know if you pay my hospital bill 614,000. So I could come out. Carry them like that, they manage them. Normally, I supposed to they change the bag where I take the cover them for every blessed day. That bag they cost 1-2. I not get that money. My family not get that money. They wash the bag with clean. They cover the intestine bag. Don't seek help so many places, but when I listen to telephone vano with the ordinary president, so when I come, I explain myself. Today now the story is different because he invited me himself, he received me himself, he take me back to the same national hospital where they say I not come back again. They treat me and I did the 4th surgery and it was successful. Today now the intestine is inside with the help of the Brekete family, both home and abroad. Thanks to everybody and I appreciate.
Okoro advised parents to bring their children up in a good way so that they can become better persons in the society.
I go really advise the youth. You really need to be careful for mama and for papa. It is very, very sad to say, but I really need to work on our children because these people will stab me. If really they get good home training, they no go just stab woman being like that. For Nigerians, the world at large, I go say make una dey conscious, una dey very, very careful of the kind people self where they come around una because nobody know who be who.
And from there, we'll take a short break, but please do stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome, my dear friends.
Human Rights Radio. Your 100% effort is not good enough.
You know.
Give me 101.1 effort.
Welcome back. And on the foreign scene, Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa is seeking the removal of sanctions imposed by Western countries, saying they are crippling national development. He also indicated that elections due next June could be brought forward. Speaking to governing ZANU-PF party leaders, Mnangagwa said the government would do everything to make sure they were credible, free and fair. Mnangagwa is expected to be endorsed today as party leader and presidential candidate for ZANU-PF at the elections. United States travel and economic embargo remains in place for several ZANU-PF officials, senior members of the military and state-owned companies. The Trump administration has said the sanctions will not be removed unless political reforms take place. And in sports, football lovers and Super Eagles fans are still reacting to the FIFA fine slammed on Nigeria following the country's use of defender Abdullahi Shehu in the Russia 2018 qualifier game against Algeria. FIFA said Shehu failed to serve the automatic one-match suspension imposed on him as a result of receiving a caution in two separate matches of the same competition. According to FIFA, the three-time African champions violated the regulations of the 2018 World Cup Russia and then the FIFA disciplinary code.
I think it's as a result of carelessness because the NFF and officials have known that this guy has a suspension entitled to him that he's supposed to serve. And also, FIFA didn't play their own part very well because this action shouldn't be taken after the match. At least they should have notified Nigeria that Trust is not eligible to play this match. Even the coach himself should have known that this guy is not eligible.
The problem is the NFF because the coach should have known that this guy wasn't eligible. There's really no way, I mean, if you're in charge of people, you're supposed to know who is fit to do something. The coach knew about it. The NFF knew about it. I think somebody should be sanctioned for some reason. Somebody should take the fall.
I'll put all the blame on the Nigerian Football Federation because they were the one that's supposed to keep a record of the players that have been red carded. Pure neglect from the NFF. It's so unfortunate that after we have qualified and we happen to hear this kind of bad news, thank God that we have already qualified. But it's bringing down the way we are pushing that we have not lost any match. Presently, we have lost one match already because they gave Algeria 3-0 against us. So it's so unfortunate.
It's a very costly mistake for the Nigerian Football Association and the team as a whole, because where it would have been a disaster for us if at the end they said Nigeria is no longer going to participate in 2018 FIFA World Cup that is going to take place in Russia.
The concluding match of Group B of the African Series for Russia 2018 ended in a 1-1 draw, but FIFA on Thursday awarded all 3 points to Algeria because of the issue. And that's the news this hour, but we'd like to remind you that absence of Minister Stoll's budget defense at the House of Representatives. Governors called for release of $1 billion from excess crude account to fight terrorism. UN seeks $1.1 billion to curtail humanitarian challenges in Northeast in 2018. And settlement of people living with disabilities in Kalmajiji FCT calls for help to alleviate their sufferings. And that does it this hour. My name is Oikeke Igado Kure, but you can continue to follow us on our social media handle Facebook is Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. You can also tweet at us at H Rights Radio. Thank you for listening.